Hello and welcome back to the Manifest Magic podcast. Today we're doing an episode that's kind of like a get to know you episode where we're basically interviewing each other. So we have some like more professional questions and some more like funny questions. So do you want to get started with your first question?
I'm going first. Okay. Okay. Ready for this?
Yeah.
If you could speak to animals and hear them and understand them, what is the first thing you'd say to our dog Shelby?
Oh God, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I'd probably like ask her. I don't know, maybe I'd ask her if she knows what manifesting is or like what you know what I would ask her is I would ask her if she knows like where we go like during the day like when we go to like school and stuff if
Oh,
she like
yeah, that's a good
understands
one.
that
Yeah.
or like what she does during the day while we're gone.
That'd be so sad if she didn't. I heard someone say once that dogs, like when you leave, they don't realize you're going to come back and they think you're going to be
Oh,
gone forever.
oh, that's so
So sad.
sad.
I wonder if that's true, though. All right, you
Okay.
can go.
Okay. If um hold on, if manifestation worked like a genie when and you got granted three wishes, what would your three wishes be?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. Um, the first would be, I would say, getting in like the top 10 podcasts overall. So I could just do podcasting and like make a full-time income with it. And okay, that would be number one. God, this is kind of hard. Um, all right. The second would be, I guess, like something with health, like having perfect health, like our family having perfect health, not getting sick, you know, that kind of thing.
After you just got
After I just
laryngitis.
got sick, I like have a newfound gratitude for health. Yeah, just staying like perfectly healthy. Um, and then third, what did I do third? Um, you know what, third, I guess it probably would be like a money goal, like $10 million, because that way I know like we would
Yeah,
all be set and we wouldn't have to worry about
yeah,
running out of money or anything like that. So just to have that like stability.
yeah,
That was a hard one. You would think I would like
yeah.
have those down, but okay. What is the biggest thing that you've manifested?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think, honestly, I think probably the house. Because, like, when I was little, I wanted a pool in the backyard. I'd say probably the pool was probably one of, like, it was definitely the most expensive thing that I've manifested.
I feel like you helped me manifest that.
Yeah,
We like co-created that
yeah.
because I remember too when you were, I don't even know, maybe like 5 or 6. Remember when we went to Naples and we were on that yacht and we were looking at like all those
Oh, yeah,
mega
like the mega
mansions?
mansions.
And I was like, if you could have any house, like what would it be like? And we were talking about that. I was trying to plant that seed so you would, get used to that. But I bet that actually helped. So
Yeah.
I always think like I manifested the house,
That
but
was
you were
actually
manifesting it
that
too.
was actually going to be one of my questions was do you think two people can bind and manifest one thing? But I mean, I guess we already just answered that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, actually, that's a really good point to bring up because what a lot of people don't realize, like when you think about manifesting, you think about just you. And so if something doesn't happen, you're like, why isn't it happening? I must have done something wrong. But you have to
yeah.
think we are co creating with every other human being. So
Yeah.
everyone, not just in this house or this city or your school, but like the whole world is all manifesting at the same time. So we're all it's like puzzle pieces. And sometimes you have to
Yeah.
wait for things to happen because it's not, we're not the only person.
That'd be a good episode to do on
We
like
should, yeah, we should like dive into that because that's kind of a big concept to go over. Um, Whose turn is it? Was that my question or your question?
I think that was that your question. You asked about the pool. Did I ask another
Yeah.
question
What
after
I
that?
asked what the biggest thing was you manifested. That's right.
Okay. Um, okay, so this is kind of a two-part question. Okay, so if you could have anyone, like anyone in the world on your podcast, who would it be? And out of all the guests you've already had on your podcast, who is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, that's really hard. That's like really putting me on the spot because okay, so who was my favorite? Probably Teresa Palmer, just because she's like my favorite
Yeah.
actress, and it was really cool to hear like how someone who's had so much success manifests and like all the different things that she
Yeah.
does. So I would say her. And then who, if I could have anyone on, who would it be? That's really hard. I have like a list too of people I would like to have on. I think honestly, I think it would probably be like Joe Rogan.
I knew you were going to say Joe Rogan.
Just because like I feel like he's been like the number one podcaster for so long. And
I was just about to
always
answer for you and
visualize-
be like, Joe Rogan.
yeah, he's like, it's so weird because he's always like whenever I'm visualizing like the podcast doing well, I'm always like picture because he's always at like the number one spot. And
Even like I always get stuff for Joe Rogan, like on like my TikTok and Instagram.
yeah. Well, Hulk Hogan was on his show and they were talking about the law of attraction, but only like they were just skimming the topic. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, he's a little open to it. He's listening to it. Now I can come in and we could like dive deep.
And what's funny
into
too is
it.
Hulk Hogan. We've seen him a couple times, and
Yes.
uh,
I saw him on my birthday at Eddie V's.
maybe that's a sign.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, have us on your podcast.
See, we're so close. We're so close. We're like 1 degree away. Come on, Joe Rogan. That's a good. Okay, who would your person be? Now I'm curious.
Honestly, mine would probably be Teresa Palmer.
Yeah. Well, isn't it cool you got to meet her?
Yeah,
That you didn't get to interview her.
but I didn't get to interview.
And you know
her.
what? She would be awesome to have on this podcast because she had a really cool story she told me about vision boards. And that's like your thing. You're super into vision boards. And it
Yeah.
had to do with like her kids.
Yeah, she
That would be
she has
perfect.
a lot of kids.
Yeah, she does. I really admire her because she's like this huge celebrity, but she's also like a hands-on mom. Okay, we got to get Teresa on the podcast. All right. So who's I'll go now. I'll go now. Okay. Okay, this is kind of a hard one, but you might know right away. What would be your number one piece of advice for someone wanting to manifest something, but they feel stuck or they feel like it's just not going to happen?
Honestly, I feel like we did kind of like a couple episodes on that with like positive thinking and stuff like that. I definitely say listen to those. And like people having like a doubtful mindset or like
Yeah.
I
Like,
would
do you ever feel doubt? You never seem like you feel doubt. Do you feel doubt a lot?
sometimes like I feel like a lot of times it's like when people tend to feel doubt, it's when something is taking longer to manifest than like you want it to. And honestly, for that, I would say like even though it might seem to you like it's taking too long or like, but really it's just like the universe's timing. Like even though you think that right now might be the best timing, it's not. Like it probably isn't. Like
That's true.
the universe knows what timing's best, even when you don't.
A lot of times when you think like it's past that and it's not going to happen, that's when it'll happen.
Yeah. Okay. This is kind of a funny one, but this goes with your first question. Do you think pets can manifest their desires? Like, and if like pets were to be able to manifest, what do you think would be the first thing that Shelby would manifest?
Food, anything having like bacon. She all she wants
Pounds
to do
of
is eat.
bacon.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if like pets do manifest. You never know.
I mean, I'm sure they have desires of things that they want, I mean, and she really works for it. She puts the guilt trip on me every time I'm in the kitchen eating something. But she was on my vision board. Did I tell you that? Like
No.
before we even decided on a corgi, there was like the cutest picture of this corgi on the beach and I like added it to my like when we moved to Florida kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a dog, and it was like the same type of corgi, same color, everything. So I feel like I sort of manifested that without even like I wasn't intentionally thinking, oh, we're gonna get a corgi. I just kind of liked the whole photo. But maybe, I mean, she lives a pretty good life. So
yeah, she is one spoiled dog. That was like there was like a couple weeks ago, my friends were like, can you FaceTime us? And I was like, hold on, I'm tucking my dog in for bed. Call you in 20 minutes. Reading her bedtime story. They're like, you have to tuck your dog in for bed. I was like,
yeah,
you don't.
literally, you tuck her into bed every night, and it's adorable, but it's also kind of weird. But she loves it. She's spoiled. She's very spoiled.
It's also kind of weird. Okay.
Okay, this is a good one. If you could time travel, what time would you go to and why?
Like at a time that I've lived or time
no, like like ever. Like you could go to like any
gosh,
time period and like just hang out. Where would you want to go? Is there a certain time period where you're like, oh, that would be cool to live during that
I feel
time?
like either like maybe like the 70s or something, or like maybe like early 2000s. It's like
When
that's like I just thought of it because I have on flare pants right now.
Those are the same pants that I used to wear in the early 2000s, by the way, but they also wore them in the 70s. That's where I would go. I feel like I was supposed to live in the 60s and the 70s. So I feel like that's where I would go to.
Yeah, with all the hippies, you can manifest with all them, teach them your ways.
Yeah,
they like, love it. Come vision board with us.
Go live on like a hippie commune.
That's actually one thing I would do if I went back and I went like to the 70s. I would find a hippie commune and I would interview all of them. Interview a bunch of hippies. I want to interview Amish people. That's what I want to interview.
Oh, I just saw one. I guess they're like allowed to do TikTok. I thought they weren't allowed to do like any technology, but I was scrolling through TikTok and there was this Amish girl.
I've seen some.
Yeah, and she was like answering all kinds of questions.
Pretty sure they have a show where it's like Amish people like switching.
Oh, maybe she was from that show.
I genuinely Amish people, I aspire to be like an Amish person.
I swear they're onto something.
I think they are onto something.
They grow their own food. They have all sorts of health remedies where they don't use like modern.
We went at the Strawberry Festival. They had Amish donuts. Best donuts I've ever had in my life.
Oh, you know what? Apple butter too.
Oh,
yep.
Is it my turn to ask a question? I think so.
Yes.
Okay. This is a hard one, but you filmed a lot of podcast episodes, but out of all the episodes you've done, which is your favorite? Or like which was like the most fun to do?
I think the ones I did with you, because I always got feedback on those.
Yeah.
And everyone seemed to love them, and it was just kind of like fun, and it sparked. I mean, that's really why I want to do this podcast with you too, because it's just fun. So I would say those are probably my favorite. And I feel like we'll look back on those someday. We could like show your kids someday if you have kids.
Yeah.
You know.
We should have Millie on the podcast once she's a little bit older. Right now, she probably wouldn't.
She would probably love it. She would probably love to come on right now. They like play podcasts. They'll like sit in these chairs and just say, "Hi, welcome to the podcast." Okay. What's your favorite TV show or series?
Ooh. Okay. I really like Stranger Things. Netflix shows, I would say probably like Stranger Things. And then Amazon, I like that one show, The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't think you've seen that, but that show's really good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
I don't know. I've been super into that one show we started watching on Apple, Dark Matter.
Oh,
I watched that. That was really cool. And that was about like parallel realities and stuff, which I think about.
Yeah, I started getting kind of sucked into that.
Yeah. And then there was another show. They haven't even come out with the second season yet, but it's called Severance on Apple, and that was really good too. I don't know, like all-time favorite show, probably Dexter. I don't think you've ever seen that, but it's like a crime. I haven't seen that,
but I've heard you guys talk about it.
We used to watch that in Illinois, and like he lived in Florida, And so I don't know. I think that's why I liked it because I wanted so badly to move to Florida and just like seeing it, I would just imagine I'm living there too.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I liked it so much.
I feel like, and then like movie wise, I would say my favorite movie is probably the Barbie movie. That movie was really good.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
That was like part of my other question I was going to ask you. Like, what
Oh.
genre is your favorite type for movies? Like,
Probably, I would
comedy?
say I like when it's kind of like a combination of like comedy and drama. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
a
that
mix
was
of
kind of how
both.
Barbie was.
Because then it's like it's kind of like interesting, but then it's also like funny,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
Okay. Um, let's see. I gotta look through my questions. Have you ever manifested anything like weird or like unexpected or like funny? Any of those? Or like what's like the
All kinds.
strangest thing that you've like manifested?
I know I've manifested some weird things. What was I was just talking about this with someone the other day, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Um, I like so with one of the biggest things I've ever wanted to manifest was writing a book. And so that was like a part of my vision board or whatever. But when I got the book deal, I was 8 months pregnant with Aiden. And that was like a terrible pregnancy. I was in pain. It was just, we
Yeah.
had Millie, who she was like a year old at the time. And so I remember like with that, I was like, okay, I just want to manifest this being like the easiest process ever. And the publisher's not gonna bother me too much. They're not gonna expect a whole lot. Like I can just write the book and they won't expect me to travel all over and do
Yeah.
a book tour or anything. And I manifested that, but I like over manifested it because they like leave me alone 100%. Like sometimes like I have to reach out because they'll like just totally like not
Yeah.
even. So I feel like I over manifested that. I don't know. I'm sure I have some funny things I've manifested. I can't really think off the top of my head.
Mm.
Do you have a funny one that you've done?
I accidentally manifested them building a Fazoli's by us.
Oh yeah.
That was not exactly 100% intentional, but I am not disappointed.
I feel like we have manifested every food place.
We've manifested a lot of food places because we'll be like, oh, I wish they had like blah 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 closer to us, and then they'll like build it. Like I remember the closest Chick-fil-A to us was like 25 minutes away, and we're like, oh, it'd be nice if they had a Chick-fil-A by us, and now they have a Chick-fil-A by us, and we're like burn out on it because we eat it so much.
Yeah. And then we were talking about we wanted like a fast food place, but that was like healthy. Like,
And they built Fresh Kitchen.
yeah. And that was what I kept thinking. I'm like, I wish we had a place like Fresh Kitchen because
Yeah.
I've been to the one in South Tampa. And then when we first moved to Florida, I remember talking to Grammy about this. I was like, um, everything's like perfect here except there's no Portillo's because at that time Portillo's was just like an Illinois, like a Chicago thing. And after I said that, they like sold to some company and started building them in different states, and then we got a Portillo's.
Um, Another thing that I thought of that I think we might have manifested is we were talking about how the TJ Maxx by us is kind of just like, like it's not that nice, and we just found one down
Oh
past the
yeah,
mall.
yeah, and that's a good one too.
Yeah, that's that one's nice.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. All kinds of weird things. You never know. Um, I swear, like this is kind of mean, but I swear I've manifested like certain people that weren't the nicest, weren't,
Yeah.
manifested them like moving and then they did. So I'm just gonna throw that out there too, because that's kind of when I wasn't like intentionally trying to manifest that. I just thought about it and then they were like, oh, we're moving.
It's like, oh,
Oh. Okay, what's your favorite school subject?
oh, I would say probably okay, subject, my best subject is like English. Like I'm a little more ahead in English, but then I'd say my favorite teacher is probably my history teacher, or maybe my English teacher. I don't know. My history teacher is pretty cool though. He's a DJ.
He goes DJing on like the weekends, right?
He'll like miss school and we'll be like, where were you? Were you sick? He's like, no, I was DJing in Korea, and we're like, okay.
So clearly he's just a teacher to like fund his DJ
Yeah.
business, probably.
Yeah.
No, you've been getting into history this year. I feel like he explains it good. I feel like he's a good
Yeah.
teacher. Oh, that was my question to you.
Okay. Is there anything like negative that you've manifested, like that you didn't want to happen, but that happened anyways? Like you manifested it even though you didn't want it to happen?
Yeah, a lot of things. I feel like I manifested getting so sick because, and if anyone doesn't know,
Ah,
I was sick. Like I
yeah.
could not speak
You were sick
for
for
like
like
6
2 weeks.
days, and then yeah, by now it's been over 2 weeks and I'm still coughing. Um, I feel like I manifested that though because Amelia and Aiden were starting school, and I kept saying over and over again, I was like, "Oh, they're starting school, which means they're gonna catch,
Yeah,
whatever
you were
germs, and
saying
we're
that a
gonna get
lot.
sick." And I didn't even like think about me saying that and then it manifesting. I was just like preparing because it's like, well, yeah, when kids start school, they get sick.
Yeah.
But man, like this has been like the worst illness I think
Yeah.
I've had since I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure I manifested that. And I was like kicking myself the other day. I'm like, why did I keep talking about that? I didn't want it to happen, yet I kept bringing it up, and it happened.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I'm almost out of questions. What's currently on your vision board?
Okay, here, let me check. The most recent thing that I know that I've added is for homecoming court because I'm running for homecoming court. Um, let's see. Oops, it's gonna load now. Yeah, I have some stuff for homecoming court. I had some stuff for cross country. And then like good grades and stuff like that. And actually, another thing on my vision board is to have Teresa Palmer on the podcast. We were just talking about that earlier.
Okay, we're gonna have to reach out to her because her name's come up like 3 times already. Yeah, okay, that would be good. Do you have that on your vision board?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. You're on it. Like you really do update your vision board
that
all
that
the
was
time.
that goes with the question that I was just about to ask you. What is the last 3 things on your vision board?
Um, okay, so something a little bit different that I do with the vision board is like I'll take a screenshot of my bank account and then I'll go in Canva and I'll edit the amount I want. So I put like I want $2 million like invested. I want 100,000 copies sold of my book. So close. And 1 million podcast downloads.
Hmm.
So those I try to like I don't know, I have like a lot of numbers on there, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. I think I might have had one more question. Um did I already ask what was the last thing you manifested? Did we already do that?
No, you asked what's on my vision board, but you didn't ask what the last thing
Oh,
was. The last thing that I think I manifested, I really don't know. I feel like I know what it is, but like I just don't really think about it. There's probably so many things I've manifested like on accident without even realizing it.
I bet it was
It was probably either
Hawkeye, getting the
oh
Hawkeye thing.
yeah, getting in Hawkeye. That's like my school's spirit club thing. I'd say that was probably one of like my last like biggest ones.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out of questions. I didn't think we were going to get through all these.
I should see if I have any more. Um okay. If you could manifest to have a conversation with anybody, who would it be, like dead or alive? Who would it be and what would you ask them?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know if you know who this is, but Nikola Tesla,
Oh
who's
yeah.
a scientist, and I would ask him about what he experienced and like basically what the secrets of the universe are because this guy like figured out a lot of things that we're just now figuring out in science, like with vibration and frequency. And he said that while he was building like his energy towers and doing a lot of this work with like energy and frequency, that he communicated with something
Hmm.
that wasn't here, it wasn't a human. And so people, like everyone's kind of questioned, like, what was that? Was it
Yeah.
the spiritual world? Was it an alien? Was it just like a frequency, like a parallel reality? So I would just love to like pick his brain and ask him pretty
Hmm.
much for the secrets of the universe, because I think that guy knew way more than anyone else.
Hmm.
Who would do you have something in mind for that? Who would you talk to?
Uh, I don't know. That's actually a really hard question. I have to think about that.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be fun to have a conversation with like Adam Sandler or like Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito would be
I
hilarious.
feel like Danny DeVito comes up at least like once a week in our house.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, there's Danny DeVito. There's a sign with Danny DeVito on it.
Yeah, isn't I feel like we manifest that because we'll be talking about him and then we'll like see a billboard.
I keep seeing
Where did
stuff.
we see that?
It was Jersey Mike's. Every
Oh,
time
yeah.
I have the Jersey Mike's, there's stuff like there'll be like a giant picture of Danny DeVito, and he's like, well, holding a Jersey Mike sub.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God, Danny DeVito. That guy's hilarious. He'd be so much fun to hang out with.
I know. Or Kevin Hart.
Yeah, he would be good too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, we should like make a list of people we want to.
You know what I feel like would be funny to ask about is asking Ryan Gosling about the whole Ken thing. Because remember when he won the award for the Ken song and he was like so confused?
Yeah.
Like, I would love to ask about that. That would be funny.
He did such a good job with that role and just like with that movie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he made that. Like that was
Yeah.
like the Ken song. It's just like
I wonder if he like with like especially with the Ken song, if he intended for like that to go as like viral and as popular like as it did. Because
yeah.
I feel like based on his reaction after he won an award for it, he didn't seem like he knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah. We were singing that for like months. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
get it out of my head.
Oh, I still sing it. Okay.
That was a good one.
Um,
Oh, here I have like a random one. If you could go on vacation anywhere, where would you go?
ooh. Um, okay. In Florida, I would probably say I've been wanting to go to the isn't it called like Rosemary Beach that's up by St. Augustine?
Oh yeah.
And I really I feel like that would be really nice, but then also there was just a shark attack there. So like if we did go there, I would not want to go in the water. Or Naples. I mean, we go to Naples a lot, but like
I know that's
I'd-
my favorite
I'd
place.
I'd go there anytime, anytime.
Yeah.
And then somewhere like out of state, I don't really know because I don't really have any desires to leave Florida. Maybe like I've seen a lot of things on like Tennessee. Tennessee looks kind of nice. Like
We drive through there when we go to
yeah,
Illinois. That'd be cool to
like
stop and get like a cabin.
the Nashville area is kind of nice too. It kind of reminds me of like a northern version of Florida.
Yeah. Yep. Amelia and Aiden said that they, especially Aiden, they want to take, well, no, Amelia too, they want to take a airplane ride somewhere.
Oh,
And they've been asking me about it like every day. And I'm like, ugh, like I really don't want to get on an air. I don't know why. I
Yeah.
never used to be afraid of flying. And I have this fear of flying.
well, that's
now.
like I always see like people post so many like cool vacations that are like outside of the country, like in Italy and like Europe and stuff. And like I feel like that would be really fun, but then also I have a weird fear of like getting stuck there. Like for some reason, like we come to go back and like our passports like don't work or something, or they like don't let us on and we're like stuck in Europe. Like that's like a weird fear of mine. But then also like I feel like that'd be kind of fun, like future wise. I don't know if I'd do that now, maybe like when I'm older, travel to Europe.
Yeah. When Abby and I went to Italy, when we were leaving, we were like in the airport waiting for our plane to come and so we could board. And her and I, we just start like talking and joking around or whatever. And all of a sudden we look up and like everyone's gone. Like no one is sitting in our terminal. And we were like, where did everyone go? Like how did we not notice this? And we go and they're like, your plane is boarded. Like they're getting ready to leave the terminal. And so we had to like run and we just got on in the nick of
Oh
time.
my
And we were
God.
like, how did we do that? Like we literally could have been stuck in Italy and we were just sitting there talking, not paying attention.
Maybe you manifested that you got on the plane in time.
Oh God, that was before I even knew about the law of attraction.
Okay, my last question for you is what is your favorite book on manifestation?
I was just thinking about this today. I swear I like manifested this because I literally like wrote out a whole podcast episode I needed to do on this. My favorite is kind of an odd one. You've probably never heard of it. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles.
I think I've seen that one, but I haven't like read it yet.
It was written over 100 years ago, but it's just as relevant now as then. Like the stuff that people are just now talking about with the law of attraction and with quantum physics and quantum entanglement and like all that kind of stuff he was talking about during the industrial revolution when people had no idea about any of this. So I just find it like fascinating, and it's literally a book you could read in a day. It's really short and he just explains it in a way that just makes it seem like so easy and possible. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's a good book for anybody to read.
I'd say my favorite is probably really like any of the secret books.
Yeah, those are
Because
the ones.
I like those books. I was thinking about it. I started reading some of those when I was like 4 years old, and those are like full like chapter books. Obviously, like I had some help, but like I feel like that's kind of what that's why I'm so good at reading because
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wanted you to read those because that was how I found out about the law of attraction, and it like
that was like one of the I
clicked
think that
with
was one
me.
of like the first chapter books I ever read.
Yeah. You know what we should do for the podcast is go through the magic,
Yeah.
because I've gone through it multiple times. Every single time I go through it, it's like a 21 or 28-day challenge. Every single time I go through it, something like insane manifests. Like when we
Hmm.
moved to Florida, I went through that challenge. Like when I got the book deal, I was going through it. Like so many big, huge, life-changing moments happened after I did that challenge.
Yeah.
And then I've heard like other people say the same thing. So we should do it.
That was actually I did that manifestation challenge thing and I decided to like just kind of like do it for fun. And that was like right when I was coming like in in-person school. And so one of the things I was trying to manifest during that was good grades. I had straight A's that quarter.
Yeah, that's right. See, we should do it.
Yeah.
And then we could talk about like
I feel
all
like
the
every
different
time
things.
I go through the magic too, I always like I'll find like something else that I like missed when I like read it before, like another
Mhm.
like tip or something like that or like advice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that usually helps.
And I feel like doing it over the course of the whole month, it really ingrains it in your mind.
Yeah.
It's like,
I feel like I've noticed the best time to read that is during the month of January.
yeah, that's when I did it the
When
last time.
I feel like when really just like in general, I don't know why for me, I feel like January, I'm always able to manifest like the most things.
Yeah.
January and then May, like right before summer. It's always like right before something that I'm able to manifest. So like right before the year starts, or right as the year's starting, right before summer, like as it's starting. Same with like fall, winter, like right before something starts,
Yeah.
like a certain time of year.
I feel like January is big for everyone because of like New Year's resolutions. It's the start of a new
Yeah.
year, like fresh start, new beginning kind of thing. So I feel like I always manifest good things. Maybe that's what we should plan.
What I do like the last week, we should do like a whole episode on this.
Hmm.
Is I come up with like all the things I want to manifest, and then like the night of, I make like a huge vision board, like on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we could even do like a workshop or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It was the workshop that my vision board workshop where I swear I manifested that book deal. So I talked about it in that workshop, and the next 21 days later, I got a book deal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we know what we're going to do. End of the year, beginning of the year, we'll plan that out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're out of questions, but hopefully that gives everyone a chance to like get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah.
We'll have to do another round of these. That was
Yeah, I feel
interesting.
like this was definitely a very long episode, but it was like probably one of the most fun ones that we've done like on this
Yeah.
podcast, I'd
Yeah.
say.
I kind of like the impromptu, like just,
Yeah,
you
just like
know,
random
you got to like
questions.
think on your toe. I'm so bad at thinking on my toes, but it's fun.
I'm actually very good at that. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
can get asked any question on the spot. That's probably why I got picked when I got interviewed.
I know,
Because I
because you
think,
had hard interview questions, and I'm like, oh my God, how'd you answer that? And you just were like,
yeah, I
boom.
had to like just come up with like questions on the spot.
Yeah. Well, you don't get that from me because I suck at that. But all right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next week.